Hey guys, and welcome back to Cruising with Matthew, and in my 11th episode in my P&O Oceana vlog series, I'm going to be talking to you all about our final port of call, which was Lisbon in Portugal, so I really hope that you enjoy this. So I woke up really early because I was desperate to see the sail into Lisbon because I've heard lots of good things about how you sail under the 25th of April bridge, and it is a really interesting moment. The only issue was that when I woke up it was pitch black because I'd misjudged my timings. However, I was able to do some more recording for my ship tour, and then as the sun started to rise I made my way on deck after having a nice muffin from the buffet. With the sun barely being risen it was still quite chilly, but it was really exciting to see the full sail into Lisbon. I was also up so early that even the pilot hadn't got up on board. After the pilot was dropped off in order to help the captain safely navigate Oceana into Lisbon, we started our approach. Now, Lisbon is the capital city of Portugal and is on the river Tagus, so it means that you have quite a long approach before you get to the cruise terminal, as I found out. And it was really interesting to see the shoreline of Portugal slowly coming into view. So as we got closer to Lisbon, we could see the 25th of April bridge starting to loom above it. So as I braved the wind, more and more people started to come out on deck in order to see the sail under the bridge. Now, this bridge is a huge bridge and has a central span of over 1,000 yards, and it allows both cars and trains to pass from one side of the river to the other. It is known as the 25th of April Bridge after the date of the 1974 revolution, but it can also be known as the Tagus Bridge. Now, this was something that I was really looking forward to, and you could definitely feel a sense of anticipation as the bridge loomed over us. And finally, we sailed under it simultaneously as a train was also passing over us, and the almost eerie sounding noise of the bridge was really interesting as well. And I know it's because of perspective, but I always think when you're sailing under bridges like this that the ship might not fit and you might end up scraping the top of the funnel. As Oceana continued to make her way towards the cruise terminal, most people had left the deck, and I was actually joined by Zoe because she had managed to see the sail in from the promenade deck because she wanted to get up a bit later. However, I wanted to see the full sail-in, so Zoe went in to get some breakfast and I continued watching. And at this point it was getting very windy, so you couldn't help but notice there were two little tugboats just keeping their distance in case they were needed when Oceana manoeuvred her way in. And I can't help but be amazed by the sheer manoeuvrability of these ships, and even though Oceana isn't a large ship by today's cruise ship standards, it's still a marvel to see a ship like this just pirouetting on a pinhead to come alongside, especially when it was so windy. So as Oceana finally made her way alongside the cruise terminal in Lisbon, by this time I was extremely cold because I hadn't really anticipated how windy it would be. So I went into the Plaza buffet to see Zoe and defrost with a cooked breakfast. By this time, however, we got a slightly ominous message from the captain who reiterated that our departure time from Lisbon was going to be pushed back to 3 o'clock, whereas I think it was planned to be around 5 or 6-ish. This was because there had been news that there was a significant storm building up in the Atlantic, so he was essentially wanting to get out of Lisbon and essentially go as quickly as possible in an attempt to outrun the storm. So this definitely gave us a sense of trepidation as we got off the ship. However, we were really excited to explore Lisbon, even if we had a shorter period of time to do it in. So off we went off the ship, and there was a shuttle bus available. However, we decided to go on foot. One thing that I really appreciated was that due to the fact that Oceana had docked facing out of port, it meant that as we walked out of the cruise terminal, we got some fantastic views of the bow of Oceana. So after taking some obligatory photos, me and Zoe decided to go off on our way. Now, I had visited Lisbon once before, but that was a long time ago on Oriana, so it all felt very new to me. We ended up bumping into a huge plaza area. I'm not going to pronounce the name because I think I would probably massacre the pronunciation, so apologies for that. But the plaza area was absolutely stunning and dominated by this huge arch which towered above the square, and that was a really lovely area to see. There's a huge range of architecture in this area, and we felt very lucky just to be able to literally hop off the ship and then 5 minutes later be walking in the space. With no real plan, me and Zoe essentially just meandered our way through Lisbon, and it's quite an easy city to do this. It's got lots of streets where basically every turn that you make it's something different. After dodging several trams, we made our way into a lovely park area and sat down to kind of get our bearings. Unfortunately, it was at this point that Zoe let let me know that at one point when she had decided to try and photobomb one of my videos, when I was panning around the plaza, she actually had managed to go over on her ankle. And given the fact that the captain had let us know that the weather would be quite severe, I was wanting her to try and rest up her ankle in case the ship is moving around a fair bit on our way back to Southampton. So it meant that unfortunately we had to curtail our exploration in Lisbon and we made our way back to the ship. But as we did so, we were still able to really enjoy the atmosphere in Lisbon. This is a city which I feel has tons to offer, and I definitely look forward to exploring the city again in more detail. As we were greeted by a cruise terminal, I had the weird realization that the next time that we actually were on land, it would be in Southampton. So it was quite a bittersweet moment, Lisbon, because it really was a fantastic city, but it was also an indication that we really didn't have much time left. So as we boarded Oceana, we made our way, or in Zoe's case, bless her, hobbled to Café Jardin for a meal. Now, Café Jardin is probably one of my favourite spots on Oceana in terms of food. It's all Mediterranean and Italian themed. You can also order particular things such as a range of pastas, pizzas, and I chose a gorgeous burger, which in addition to the amount of desserts that we had meant that we were very full by the end of it. But I thoroughly recommend visiting this place and especially getting the tiramisu pots because they are to die for. Now, luckily for us, the weather had actually improved a fair bit, so it meant that once you were out at the wind, the pool deck was really nice and warm. Whilst I rested a leg and sunbathed, I had a little wander around the ship, taking pictures of the skyline of Lisbon. So as I made our way back, me and Zoe ordered cocktails and I managed to get a strawberry daiquiri that was probably about the size of my face, which was quite amusing. And then we got ready for our party sail away. We were having a fantastic time up on deck, dancing to some very cheesy music and watching Leon and the entertainments team put all their energy into the dancing. And similar with the sail in, there was a lot of excitement as we sailed out of Lisbon because we would sail under the 25th of April bridge. And this was going to be a different perspective for me because obviously I was right at the front of the ship on our sail in, so I was looking forward to seeing what it was like on the Lido deck. So that was another highlight of the day as we sailed under it and continued our way out of the Tagus River. In some ways the sail away was actually quite emotional, especially at the end. They decided to play Sailing by Rod Stewart, and then you had lots of crew members from different departments coming up and waving to all the passengers. And I have to admit, I think I shed a tear or two at that point because it really had been a fantastic holiday. And it's a memory with especially what's going on at the moment, I will definitely treasure. Who can say? I am flying past in high clouds to be with you, to be free. And as the sail away came to a close, me and Zoe decided to go to the back of the ship to say farewell to Lisbon. Now, with the fact that Zoe's foot was now aching a little bit, she decided to go to the cabin and I just wandered around Oceana. And as we left the River Tagus, the waves were getting a little bit more significant. But this is really when I'm in my element because I love it when the ship is a little bit rocky. And I really enjoy just sitting out on the promenade deck watching Oceana cut through the waves. So after being thoroughly windswept and covered in sea spray, I decided to make my way back to the cabin where we got ready for this evening. Now, this evening was going to be quite interesting. I had been invited to the Peninsula Club cocktail party because I had achieved over 100 nights on board P&O cruises and we got invited to a special cocktail party. And this was taking place at the Starlight Show Lounge. So as we made our way through, several senior officers smiled at us and greeted us. And then we made our way to the front because that's where there were a lot of spaces, and it meant that we were really close to this fantastic dolphin ice sculpture. And it was a really nice atmosphere because we got to chat to some other cruisers and also were given a few glasses of bubbly and also some canapé, so it was really nice. You also had the opportunity for a raffle to win a few bottles of champagne, which unfortunately I didn't. We had the senior loyalty manager welcoming us to the cocktail party, and then we even had some word from the captain. Now, he also gave us a few anecdotes and said that if you added up all the cruises that everyone who had been invited to the Peninsula cocktail party, it would be a total of around 374 years in total, which was a crazy amount of cruises. It was just a really fun start to the evening, and it was definitely nice to talk to some other fellow passengers that we hadn't had chance to talk to during our cruise. We then made our way to dinner. After yet another lovely meal chatting to Steve and Diane and Max and John, we headed over for our entertainment. Now, this evening we chose Becky Porter, who was actually an Adele tribute artist, but we'd actually missed her performance as Adele due to an overlap with a previous performer earlier in the cruise. However, we were really impressed with her own choice of song, so I would recommend that you see her if she is on one of your cruises. As I had been up incredibly early to see the sail into Lisbon, it meant that I was really tired, so we made our way back to the cabin. However, it was definitely going to be a interesting couple of days as we made our way back to Southampton, but that's for next week. So that is my 11th episode in my P&O Oceana vlog series, and I really hope that you're enjoying it so far. In my next episode, I'll be talking to you about our very rough return to Southampton, and I'll be posting that next week hopefully, so I can't wait to share that with you. If you want to know more about Cruising with Matthew, then take a look at some of my other social media sites, including the likes of Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, and a Facebook group. I post in there daily, so I'd love to see you there. If you haven't done so already, please consider liking and subscribing because it's always appreciated. And if you want to know anything else, please comment below and I'll do my best to answer it. I hope you have a fantastic week and I can't wait to see you in the next video. So this is Cruising with Matthew and thank you so much for watching.